All right. Um yeah, I'm back. I'm back to uploading. It's been pretty long, I think. It's probably been like almost 2 months at this point since the last video I did. And I think it was labeled I hate trading or something. Yeah, that's I don't know. That's the last time I've uploaded and a lot has changed. Like I've had a lot of new experiences, a lot of pushbacks, but I've also made like a huge amount of progress since then. Like those last 2 months were really eventful, as a lot, at least as far as trading goes. And as you can tell by the title of this video, probably, I have actually managed to pass my first funded account yesterday. And yeah, I don't know. I woke up today and it kind of set in. Yesterday it was like, I don't know. I was pretty stressed out yesterday and like, I don't know, I didn't get to record anything and I didn't feel like recording anything. But now it's kind of setting in like how crazy that actually is, because like I know in the future it's going to be like whatever, I passed a funded, it's like part of my month. But this being like the first time that I have passed a funded, it's pretty crazy to me. Like, and it's kind of, it's really refreshing. It's like a breath of fresh air for me because I'm finally starting to see a breath of fresh air. Like I'm finally starting to see the fruits of my labor that I've been working on for this, like, I don't know, I think it's been like 6 months at this point since I did my first video on trading. And I've come a long way and I've definitely made a lot of progress, but I feel like a lot of this progress just was, you know, I was putting in work, but there was no return really. And this is like the first little 1% of return that I'm getting, where I'm like, damn, like I did this. Like I finally have some proof of concept of, this trading stuff works. And yeah, ever since I'm trying to think what happened since the last video. I think at that point I still had money in my live account, and I don't know. It was stupid to begin with to have money in a live account when like I don't have a lot of money, like, and it doesn't make sense for me to be putting like, I don't know, $500 into a live account just to make like what, $20 in return if I'm lucky per trade. That's like not really worth it, and I'm gonna be sitting there for a really long time just with making pretty much nothing. So, but regardless of that, I lost that account because I was greedy. I was like, honestly, none of the mistakes that I made were due to me being a bad trader, but it was just, I don't know. I'm starting to see why people say that emotions play like a really big role in this, because I have the fundamentals, like I have them down, but back then it was really a big problem for me to manage this emotion. So what basically happened, I think I remember swiftly, it was I learned about new week opening gaps, where like from Friday over the weekend there's like no trading because it's closed, and then you have this gap of price that just gets skipped basically. And I observed in like, I looked at the charts for like 5 minutes and I was like, okay, So the last, I don't know, few weeks, every time that we formed a new week opening gap, we kind of just went back up or back down to fill the gap right away. So I was like, it's an amazing idea to just put my whole $500 account into this one trade, because it's like, it's free money, right? It's like, it's got to happen. And obviously it didn't happen. And that was the first time that we didn't close the gap. And so I stayed up until like late at night to catch the new week opening gap. I full ported and I got what I deserved for just being an idiot. And I lost that account. I got a margin call when I woke up. And like, I don't know, bro, that was just so deserved. And I'm glad that happened, because I mean, $500 is not a huge amount of money. And I'm glad I learned that lesson with, like, I guess a small amount rather than like later on, like 10 times that, you know what I mean? So I'm glad I'm learning all those lessons when I'm coming up and I don't have a lot to risk, because that, like, it's still significant to me, but later on, it's not going to be that much money. And it's going to hurt way more later on when I make those mistakes. So I'd rather make them now. And that was one of those times where I'm like, bro, I'm glad that happened. So fast forward, I lost that account. I had like, I think $50 still left on the Hero FX page. So I was like, bro, I'm just going to put that into a 10x account, which is basically you buy the account and they give you 10x of that, but you have to first make those $50 back in order to be flat on 500. And then you start getting a return from everything that you make above that. It doesn't have an evaluation phase and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm just going to put that in there. It's like, whatever. And I obviously lost that account as well for something stupid I did. I think I copy traded someone. And it's like, bro, don't copy trade people. It's dumb. And then I actually bought another funded account. This is not my first funded account that I bought, because I bought another one prior to this. And that funded account, it wasn't even on CPI or anything. I think it had a maximum loss limit of 2,000 for a 50K account. And they had a sale going, so I was like, bro, it's not that much money, and you know, maybe I could make a return, or you know, experience what it's like to trade with a funded account. So it's not really that bad that I did that. I bought the account, but you know, where I messed up is my dumbass thought it was a good idea to copy trade TJR when he was streaming. And I was like, I'm just going to take the same trade as he does. And that alone should have just like had all the red flags up. And I didn't really educate myself enough on, you know, the how to use funded accounts and how that works with prop firms and everything. Because it's a lot different than the normal normal trading with, I guess, live capital, or when you have when you're on Trade Locker or something like that. Because I didn't know you could add the prop firm account to TradingView. So I was trading in Tradeovade, I think it's called. And it's like, bro, it looks terrible. That layout is so like hard to understand. And I did not look into it whatsoever. So I did not know how to manage my risk or anything. And I just went in with the smallest amount that was possible, thinking that can't be that much. And I copied TJR's trade. I was trying to risk 500 on that account, and I think price went down a few ticks, and I was on negative 2,000. And like it's because I know what went wrong. It's because I used the normal sizing, and I didn't use a mini or micro, which is what I use now to manage smaller positions. So I guess it was good that I did that, and it was good that I gained that experience. because now I know how to manage that risk. But it was just stupid that I copy traded, and now I learned from my mistakes. I don't copy trade anymore. I don't do any of that stuff anymore. I only do things, or I try to only do things that actually bring me forward on a long-term basis, because one trade being like crazy huge and whatever, that's not going to make me a good trader. That's just luck. And I don't want to be lucky. I want to be actually consistently good at this so that I can, in the long run, actually learn things that I can apply. So that's something that I took away from the last 2 months. And I've lost a lot of money, but this is like the first time where, with this funded account, I also tried to full port CPI on this, which is not I wouldn't say that's a necessarily bad thing to do. It was very calculated. It was thought out, and I actually knew how to use everything. And I used too little of a position size, so I only made like 1.5 grand, I think. And to pass the account, you need to make 3 grand. So I was halfway there. So the following days after that, I bought it last Friday. I think it's like, Thursday today? It's Thursday today. And yeah, so I think in the span of like 2 or 3 trading days, I made the rest that I had to make. And I'm pretty happy with it. I didn't have a single loss in that period. And it was just straight wins. And I felt really good about that, because those were all calculated trades that I really thought out well. And, yesterday, we had a big imbalance that we went into that I was looking forward to get into for like a few days. And we went into that, and that's where I knew, like, okay, that's my trade to take. And that's what led me to pass my first 50K funded account. Obviously, I still don't have any money from that. I still need to make trades. I still need to pass, be profitable past this point to actually get my first payout. But this is like a huge leap forward. And I'm lucky, and like I'm very thankful that I took my time throughout this, because I could have rushed this. I could have passed my first account within like, I don't know, 1 or 2 months of trading easily. But I took my time to really like make all the mistakes that I could possibly make, and go through all of the psychological or like mental states that you can go through in trading. Like the early stages were bad, bro. I was making like $500 a trade in like live trading, and I felt amazing. It was like crazy, bro. Finally, I'm like making money. This is insane. Like I'm gonna get rich. But it was all gone within the span of like a month. So I'm happy that I lost all that, and I'm happy that I've learned all of those things with a small capital, and I actually took my time to not only learn the skill of trading. That's not that hard, learning the Confluence, you can do that in a week. But actually having the experience and actually doing things wrong and learning from that and analyzing why. And I've started journaling my trades way often. And, I'm just making so much progress now. And now that I understand trading a lot better than I did back then, obviously I'm still not barely at a point of, fully understanding it, but I'm very thankful that I took my time with the funded accounts and everything. Because if I passed the funded account on month 2, I would have like lost all that money, and I would have been in complete despair, and I would have like mentally damaged myself so much to a point where I don't know where I would be at this point. But I'm being consistent now. I'm being way more thoughtful. I'm taking trades I'm still emotional sometimes, obviously, but looking back, I've improved so much, and I'm so thankful for that. And I'm so glad I'm starting to see a return on my investment that I did. And I know that all of the money that I lost, I could easily make in one trade a month from now. So I didn't really lose a lot. It was just the mental stuff that was challenging. And I made it to this point, which I'm very thankful for. I should probably show the trade that I did to pass this account. By the way, in case like anyone's doubting, that's the past account. Obviously still nothing is promised. I could still lose all this money, but at least I can say I passed a funded account. And that's like already enough for me to say like, bro, I'm so happy about this. This is the trade that I took. So we had like a huge imbalance on, the higher time frame. And I knew as soon as we get into this, we're going to get a huge spike up. I thought we were going to go all the way through, but I would have had take profits set, so I would still be good even if we don't go all the way through. We went up to this point, and I kind of saw that we're like accumulating down here. And we had a big liquidity sweep right here, and then I was just waiting for us to kind of go on a decline so that we can start retracing on the higher time frame. And right here we took out so much low resistance liquidity to the downside, especially on session open right here, that I was like, okay, cool. We filled equilibrium right here, and then there was an inverse fair value gap. No, actually it's not an inverse fair value gap. It's no, it is. I'm dumb. And I didn't want to wait for the inverse fair value gap alone, because I thought maybe if we go into the inverse fair value gap, we could still go into equilibrium, because equilibrium is right here and we could have just retraced down. So that's why I was kind of scared. And I waited for the 79% extension to be closed above. And that's where I entered the trade. I kind of had a little bit of slippage, so that's where I entered. And I just, I just waited for the trade to go up. As we went into the imbalance, we started shooting up. And I think like at this point probably, or up here, that's where my position got filled. And that's where I was not stopped out, but my take profit was hit automatically because I passed the account at this point. So it didn't matter to me if we went up all the way here. That doesn't really matter. What matters is like at this point I passed the account, and so that was it. That was the trade. And what happens after that, I don't really care about that, because I have my past funded account now. I'm very happy about this. This was pretty well thought out. And the days prior to this, all the trades were thought out as well. So overall, very happy. I'm looking forward to the days coming. I'm probably not going to trade for the rest of this week. Maybe if we get a really good setup, I will. But news is kind of going crazy, especially on Friday. So I don't know if I would want to trade on Friday. And I don't know if I would want to trade today. So I might wait to next week, but I might trade today. Who knows if we get a good setup. Overall, I'm very blessed to be at this point. I'm very happy with my results so far, and I'm looking forward to the future and what it brings, because this is really where I'm starting to collect the fruits of my labor, of those 7 months of patiently gathering experience and making those mistakes so I can learn from them, and just small steps forward. And now that's really where this is going to start picking off. And even if I lose all this money, even if I lose the account on Monday, let's say, I don't really care about that, because I know that I can pass an account now, and I know that I'm happy with my trades. As long as I can look back at my trades and be like, okay, those were good, I'm happy with those, even if they lost, that doesn't matter, because I know in the long term I'm going to win, and I know in the long term I'm going to be profitable. So I'm not going to be set back by small setbacks, and I'm not going to be overly happy about wins, because I know this was going to happen at some point. So yeah, thank you for listening.